Hi everyone, welcome to this preview for this Saturday's Fifth Third Riverbank run. I'm excited to share this information with you guys. I'm ready to run and looking forward to the day. I know that I'm going to go through some of the same information with you runners tomorrow at our practice after school, which will be our last chance to run together for this school year. But I wanted to share this with parents and fans and maybe those of you who can't be there tomorrow night anyway, so that's why I'm doing this version online. So I created this slideshow a couple years ago, and I've edited it for this year's race, and I'll have updated information as we go through it here. So just a quick reminder that CTA, nor especially myself, or anyone affiliated with CTA or staff, are responsible for any injury or harm that you suffer participating in this event. So you're doing this completely on your own, but we're happy to group together to represent CTA at this race and to have a good time. There will be packet pickup. Hopefully you all have registered already. If you want to pick up your packets on Friday, they have that available at DeVos Place until 8 p.m. If you haven't noticed on Facebook that Vicki has posted on there that she'd be willing to pick up your packets for you, all you need to do is either talk to her in person, call her, text her, or message her on Facebook right below her message whose packet you want picked up, and if you can give the bib number of the participant, that would be awesome too. If you don't know how to find the bib number, if you have not received a card in the mail, I believe you can go right here to check if I'm registered, and that will tell you your information. Also, I think there is a link right here where it says bib number, so I could go here and put in my name and hopefully hit search, and I can find out there's my bib number right here, 5374. So that information would help Vicki as she goes to pick up packets if you choose to do so. I'm going to have her pick up mine. I believe she's going to head down late morning on Friday, and then she's going to bring those packets up to CTA and give them to Mr. Beitenwerf Friday afternoon. So they'll be there for the students to pick up before they leave school on Friday. So if you're going to have your packet picked up by Vicki, make sure you get your packet before you go down to the race. It's important, to, as always, when you run, especially in races, to eat well, make sure you stay hydrated, and definitely try to go to bed at a decent time. We're going to have to get up pretty early to get downtown in time to get parking and get checked in and get lined up, because there is going to be a lot of people downtown, and they're going to have a lot of streets closed, and certain ramps off of 131 close at certain times. So we need to make sure we get down there in time to get decent parking spots so you don't have to walk a 5K to run your 5K. So first thing is, make sure everybody has rides to the race. I haven't heard anybody mention that they needed a ride. If you do, I might be able to pick you up. It's a little bit out of my way, but I'd be willing to do that. I can fit 3 people, and of course I expect to get there early, so if you need a ride, expect to ride early if you're going to be with me. Hopefully we have parents and family or just fans coming down, friends to watch the race. I love that. It's just cool for everyone just to see the sheer spectacle that is the Fifth Third Riverbank run. Be paying attention to the weather reports. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good day for Saturday, which I'm pretty excited about. Of course, it's still going to be colder in the morning, so expect 40-something degrees probably. So dress in layers. Be better to be a little overdressed than underdressed, especially when we're waiting to start. Especially if you're in the 10K or the 25K, since they start later. Wouldn't be a bad idea just to have a dry change of everything, clothing-wise and shoe-wise, in your car for after the race, just to be more comfortable driving back. And if you're in the longer race, the 25K, Band-Aids are sometimes helpful to have because of chafing of the skin. Now, parking. Hopefully some of you have ideas of where you could park. I always like to remind myself and other people that you're probably going to have to pay for parking. By probably, I mean you will have to pay for parking. So I'm going to try to remind myself to bring at least $10 down with me. I'm sure there are free locations, but it's not always easy to get to them because of where they have street closures. What I try to do is I try to park in the, I think it's called the Louis Campo lot. It's across from TGI Fridays and the Bob. It's right off of Monroe between Fulton and Pearl. That's where I like to park because it's close but not too close to the start. It's rather convenient. However, last year I wasn't able to get to that spot. They had tightened security last year, and I couldn't get off the highway where I wanted to because they'd already shut down the ramp. And then on top of it, they had Monroe closed way earlier. So I wasn't able to get there last year. I had to park further away down Monroe. But I was looking at the information provided on the website for the Riverbank Run, and it looks like it's probably going to be open. I might be able to get to there as long as you get there soon enough before they shut down the ramp. So what I found, where was it at here? Parking and traffic. So this is a good site to look at. Of course, this is 53riverbankrun.com is the website for the Riverbank Run. They have this parking and traffic guide available. And most of us will be coming from the north on 131. And what I noticed is that the ramp I'm going to want to take to get off at 131, I believe, is going to be exit 85B. And that ramp closes at 6:45 a.m. And so if we meet at 6:30, like I'm going to propose, we should be okay to get off of 131 at a closer location than having to go further down. But just keep that in mind. So they recommend also the Grand Rapids Dash West area lot 7, which I believe is over by the YMCA, as a possible place to park as well. I think that's right off of Pearl or something like that. I'm not sure if it's Pearl or not, but we can check in a second here. So this is information here you can access online if you'd like. Let me back up for a second. Downtown map. So here's a map of downtown Grand Rapids. Exit 85B coming from the north on 131 is the exit that I'm going to try to take. And I hope to be able to get off there. And I think that one dash lot I mentioned is either here or back here as a possible parking spot. I'm going to shoot for that parking ramp I talked about, which is right around here. It's just before Rosa Parks Circle. I don't know if I can get to it from Pearl because they're going to eventually close this intersection off here. But at the very least, if I can get down to Fulton and then come back up Monroe and park here, that's what I'm going to try to do. I believe that last year I ended up having to park further down in this area where I would normally park if I was going to a Griffins game. But it's a little bit longer walk, but it's doable. The place we're going to meet is DeVos Place. I'd like to meet in the lobby of DeVos Place, right by the doors going into the conference center where you would check in. And that's where we would meet at. The race starts right here. It's depending on the 5K, 10K, or 25K, they're kind of all in this area right here. So all the starts will be in this section. So this will all be closed off to traffic. So this part of Monroe will not be accessible. Parking around this area, it's going to be relatively easy to walk there as well. The finish line is actually going to be by the Calder Plaza. You can see the finish line is going to be relatively close to where you started. So if you park somewhere in this general area, you're close to both the start and the finish. This guide is the street closing guide. Pull up this PDF real quickly here. So this gives you an idea of what's shaking and baking around the street closings. You can see that they're starting to close off stuff around 4:30 a.m. Saturday morning. But most of this is the area right around the starting line there. So I believe we'll be okay to get to most of the parking areas I mentioned before. You can see that 5:30 Monroe between Pearl and Lewis is going to be closing down. 6 o'clock Ottawa will be shut down from Pearl to Fulton, and then Pearl at Monroe, that's the intersection I mentioned earlier, is going to be closed. And then at 6:45 everything's going to be shut down because the 5K is going to be beginning, and they're going to need the streets for that. So here's the plan for Saturday. First of all, if you're running, or even if you're not running, make sure you use the bathroom at home before you leave. It's going to be very difficult to have easy access to restrooms once you get down there, just because of the sheer number of runners and the lines for the porta potties and the restrooms in DeVos Place will be substantial. So packet pickup opens at 6 a.m. I'm going to try to get there about 6:15, I think. But I'm proposing that we all meet at DeVos Place at 6:30 a.m. But again, I mentioned that I'd recommend that everybody arrives a little earlier just to deal with parking and whatever unexpected street closures we might run into as we get down there. So I'm going to shoot for 6:15, but if we could all meet at 6:30 inside the lobby of DeVos Place, that'd be great. If possible, it'd be great if we could all take a group picture for everyone running the 5K, 10K, and the 25K all together. Because we all end at different times, it's difficult to take a picture afterwards. 5K starts at 7 a.m. and they'll be starting that in waves. I will show you the details of that in a minute. 10K is scheduled for 7:40 a.m. and then the 25K for runners begins at 8:20 a.m. All right, so the start staging area. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump back to the Riverbank Run website here because I don't think that link is going to let me work. We're going to go down here to course info and maps. You can see course maps here. I'm going to start with the staging area information. These are details on how we're going to start the race. 5K starts before the 10K, which starts before the 25K. So here's Monroe again. DeVos Place will be right here where my cursor is dancing around. So the 5K will start in this area, line up right over here. You guys will be the first to step up to run. Some of you have been there before, so you kind of know the drill. But then back here towards Bridge Street, you can see this green line. They'll want the 10K runners to start kind of staging in this area while you wait for the 5K runners to begin. And then the 25Kers kind of line up behind that. And what will happen is as the 5K begins and it's waves and it shuffles forward, then the 10Kers can kind of fill in behind, and then the 25Kers fall in behind them. So that's how the staging area will work. Here is the 5K map of the course. So here we are again on Monroe. This will be where DeVos Place is, again, right at the start. So 5Kers, you will start heading south on Monroe to Fulton. You'll cross the Fulton Street Bridge and head over to Mount Vernon, which is right by Grand Valley's downtown campus. Then you'll cross over to Front Street and kind of head along Scribner. So this is 131 in the river right here. So you're kind of following that. You'll run all the way over here. I believe they have an aid station there. The stars represent porta potties if you need it. 5Kers, you will continue on to 6th Street. Now, in this area right here, there's a bit of a hill. So the course is pretty flat except for a hill here. And then you'll cross the 6th Street Bridge, and it's a little bit of an uphill right here by the 2 mile, and you have an uphill on Ionia. But you're almost to the finish at this point because you're in your last mile. You'll take Ionia all the way down towards Monroe Center. You'll kind of jog down this side street here, back onto Ottawa, and then strong finish through the raging crowds of mass spectators cheering and yelling for you. It'll be quite a scene. You'll get quite an adrenaline rush as you cross this finish line right here. And then as you cross the finish line, Calder Plaza is right here, and that's where we'll be meeting up after you finish the race. You back up to the PowerPoint again real quick. One thing I added on this slide here is that as you're staying at the start, you're going to see these yellow signs, or they're usually yellow, that have times on them. And these placards are going to be held up with the mile pace times written on them. So if you think you're going to run the race at a 10-minute per mile pace, then you'd want to line up near the sign that says 10 minutes per mile. So that's just how they help organize the start so you don't have too many slower people in front of faster people at the race. So it's always better just to, if you're not confident how fast you're going to be, it's always better to kind of line up a little bit further back than you think you're actually going to run, because you can always speed up and pass people and move up. It will be incredibly crowded. You have no idea, if you haven't done this, how crowded it is at the start. You will have people in your personal space more than ever before, and it's very easy to get separated. So please, if you're a student, do not go off by yourself. So the exit buddy strategy is in effect. Always tell an adult where you'll be, and trust me, it's going to be more crowded than you can imagine. We've usually advocated a policy, especially for the 5K and the 10K, of holding hands as you walk to the start, just to make sure you guys don't get separated by people, because people will cut you off and you'll end up in different places by yourself. So hold on to hands if you have to, and walk together to where you're going to start at, and then you will be styling and profiling for the start of your race and have a good time. Alright, let's look at the 10K course map. The 10K, again, starts at the same spot. It's going to start on Monroe, right by DeVos Place. So here we are again, just a little bit further back, I think, from Pearl than the 5K started. You will also head south on Monroe to Fulton Street, cross the Fulton Street Bridge. But whereas the 5Kers made a turn here on Mount Vernon, you're going to turn left here. So you're going to cross the bridge, turn left, and then go through here. Your 1 mile is going to be right here on Butterworth. You'll continue on Butterworth to Marion, and then to Park Street. Then your 2 mile mark is going to be just as you get almost to John Ball Park. You'll run through John Ball Park, you'll wave at the zoo entrance, you'll wave at the swans in the pond, and you'll jump back out onto Fulton. Then you'll cut over to Lake Michigan Drive. Along straightaway down Lake Michigan Drive, there's your 3 mile mark. And then you'll jump back down here to Winter, and then back to Fulton, where you'll make a left here and start running the 5K course at Mount Vernon. So then 10Kers, you'll run the 5K course for the second half of your race. Here's your 4 mile mark. Here's that hill I mentioned previously. Bridge, 5 mile mark. There's going to be an incline here. It's not a steep hill, but it's a long one. And then your 6 mile will be as you get back into downtown, and then you'll finish the same finish as everybody else. And again, Calder Plaza will be right here, and that's where we'll meet when you finish. For the 25K, there's not as many of us running the 25K. I'm running the 25K. I believe Mr. B is running the 25K. Coty and Aaron, I know, are running the 25. I'll just show you our map just so you get an idea of how far we're going and where we're heading. Alright, here we go. So we also start at the same spot on Monroe, right by DeVos Place. We head south. Here's our 1 mile. Here's our 2 mile. We're heading down Market Avenue. Here's our 3 mile. Following the river. Here's our 4 mile. Here's the 5th mile. Here we are at mile 6. We are already out to Wilson Avenue, out near Granville. We cross the Wilson Street Bridge over the river. This would be Johnson Park out here. We're on Butterworth Drive. There's our 7 mile. There's our 8 mile. Here's 9 miles. Now we're out towards Millennium Park. 10 mile, it starts to get hilly right in here. It's actually pretty flat up until you get to this section here. There's a couple of good hills in this section, so beware of that if you run the 25K. Here's mile 11, mile 12, 13 is just before we get back into John Ball Park. We also run through the park as the 10Kers do. We come down Lake Michigan Drive, and then we jump back to Fulton Street for our mile 15, and then we run on to Fulton. Run from Fulton to Ottawa to the standard finish line as everybody else for 15.5 fun-filled miles. The 25K, as I mentioned earlier, starts about 8:20. All right, so here's Calder Plaza, and this is where we traditionally try to meet at the end of the race. Now, if you're running the 5K or the 10K, I will not be there when you finish. So if you could arrange to have any adults that you're with to try to meet you in this area after you cross the finish line, it would be advisable. So we try to say, and what I tell the kids when we meet tomorrow is that we'll shoot for trying to gather around this right front leg of the Calder statue. So your finish will be back behind where this picture is taken, and it can be difficult for the runners to get in here because this will all be kind of fenced off. But there's an entrance back down here somewhere that you can get in through the crowd. But traditionally we've always met in kind of this section of Calder Plaza, and it's just a good rendezvous point so we can all regroup after we get separated during the race. So this will be our safety spot, if you wish, at the end of the race, Calder Plaza, near the right front leg. Here's a picture from 2011 of the CTA representatives that we had. This was the first year that we ran the Riverbank Run, And this particular year, everyone in this picture ran the 25K. So that was unusual that we didn't have anybody in the 5K or 10K, but we had a lot of fun that year. You can see lots of smiles. There were lots of rubbery legs when we were done, but we had a good time. This was a picture in 2012. We had quite a few participants that year in all events, 5K, 10K, and 25K. I don't have a group picture from last year. I just have a couple individual shots. You can see Dawson and Hunter getting ready for the 10K last year with a handsome coach in the middle there. There's a picture of Aaron that I took just before the 25K last year. We were standing in the starting staging area. We were just about to run our great race. So our goals for Saturday are to finish safely firstly, enjoy camaraderie with your teammates and even some of your teachers. It's an experience in a lifetime. There's no other race like it in our area. You get to be able to say, yeah, I did Riverbank Run, and impress all of your friends and family. And of course, to feel healthy. Do not stress out about this race, just have fun with it. I can't wait to share this experience with you. If you have any questions, let me know. Many of your questions can be answered by visiting the Fifth Third Riverbank Run website. Also on there, they have an information packet for participants, which talks about some of the finer details. This will be the same information that will be in your race packet when you collect that. And you can see lots of good information that will just supplement the things that I've talked about here. You'll probably have a timing chip. I'm seeing that right here. Cross-country runners, we're used to putting these tags on our shoes. They're called D tags sometimes. It looks like they're calling this a B tag. So if there are any parents running in the race, you're not sure how to put these on, your cross-country runner should be able to show you how to do that if I'm not around. All right. Well, again, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you on Saturday.